We've all been there, walking through a store or scrolling online, only to make a purchase we didn't plan for. Impulse buying is a behavior many of us struggle with. But what if we told you that understanding the psychology behind these decisions can help you curb unnecessary spending? In today's video, we're diving deep into the mind of a spender, exploring why we make impulse purchases and how you can take control of your spending habits. Stick around to learn the psychology behind it and strategies to stop those unplanned buys. The urge to buy. Impulse buying is often linked to emotional responses, instant gratification, and the desire for pleasure. When you make an impulse purchase, you're not always thinking logically or in the long term, but rather responding to a quick emotional trigger. This could be anything from stress, boredom, or even the excitement of a new product. The act of buying something can release dopamine, the feel-good chemical in your brain, making you feel happier, even if it's just for a moment. Retailers are aware of this psychological mechanism, which is why they place attractive items near checkout counters or use sales tactics like limited time offers to trigger impulse buys. These purchases often happen on the spot without a second thought, driven by the brain's need for instant gratification. Understanding this psychological process is the first step in curbing impulse purchases. Recognizing that the urge to buy is often emotional can help you separate your immediate desires from your long-term financial goals. Role of advertising and marketing in impulse buying. One of the primary reasons for impulse buying is the powerful influence of advertising and marketing strategies. Companies spend millions of dollars on research to understand consumer behavior and use that knowledge to influence our spending decisions. Think about it. When was the last time you saw an ad that made you feel like you needed something? Marketers use tactics that create a sense of urgency, scarcity, or exclusivity, whether it's the last one in stock message or limited time offer tags. These tactics play on our fear of missing out, FOMO, pushing us to make purchases that we might not have made otherwise. The fear of regret, missing out on a deal or a product, can lead to impulsive behavior, even if we don't need the item in question. Another common marketing technique is social proof. When you see an item labeled as best seller or most popular, it triggers the idea that others have already bought it, which influences your decision to buy too. It's a clever psychological trick that plays on our natural desire to conform. To reduce impulse purchases influenced by marketing, the key is awareness. By recognizing these tactics and understanding how they work, you can better resist the urge to act on impulse when you encounter them. Emotional spending. Emotional spending is one of the most significant drivers of impulse purchases. Whether you're feeling stressed, bored, or even happy, your emotions can strongly influence the way you spend money. The concept of retail therapy is rooted in the idea that buying things can temporarily alleviate negative feelings like anxiety or sadness. People often turn to shopping as a coping mechanism to fill an emotional void. Stress, in particular, is a major factor in emotional spending. When we experience high levels of stress, our decision-making ability is compromised, and we're more likely to make impulsive purchases to try to improve our mood. Similarly, feelings of loneliness or boredom can lead to impulse buying as a form of distraction. On the flip side, positive emotions like happiness and excitement can also fuel unnecessary purchases. Celebrating a small win or a good day can sometimes lead to overspending because we feel like treating ourselves. While there's nothing wrong with rewarding yourself, it's important to be mindful of when emotional spending becomes excessive. The key to curbing emotional spending is recognizing when your emotions are driving your buying decisions. Once you identify this pattern, you can take steps to address the underlying emotions, such as finding healthier ways to cope with stress or boredom, like exercise, meditation, or journaling. Impact of instant gratification and delay of gratification. One of the primary psychological forces behind impulse buying is our tendency to seek instant gratification. In today's world, we live in an environment where everything is available at the touch of a button, and we're conditioned to expect immediate rewards. Whether it's fast food, streaming services, or online shopping, the ability to get what we want right away is a huge driver of impulsive decisions. However, this craving for instant gratification often clashes with the concept of delayed gratification, which involves resisting the temptation for immediate pleasure in favor of a more significant reward later. In the case of impulse buying, the immediate reward is the feeling of satisfaction from making a purchase, but the long-term reward is financial stability, savings, and achieving long-term financial goals. To curb impulse purchases, one effective strategy is practicing delayed gratification. Before making a purchase, take a moment to pause and evaluate whether the item is truly necessary or if you're simply seeking an instant emotional high. You can also use techniques like the 24-hour rule, where you wait a full day before making the purchase to determine if the desire still feels as strong. Influence of social media and peer pressure. In today's digital age, social media plays a significant role in influencing our spending behavior. Platforms like Instagram, Pinterest, and TikTok are filled with influencers showcasing the latest trends, fashion, gadgets, and beauty products. This constant exposure to material goods can lead to feelings of inadequacy or the desire to keep up with others, which drives impulse buying. This phenomenon is often referred to as social comparison, where we compare ourselves to others and feel the need to match their lifestyle, even if it means spending money we don't have. The curated images of perfect lives and possessions on social media can create a sense of envy, leading to the belief that we need those items to feel happy or successful. To combat social media-driven impulse purchases, try to limit your exposure to materialistic content. Unfollow accounts that promote excessive consumerism and follow those that focus on financial education, mindfulness, or self-improvement. Practicing gratitude can also help shift your focus away from what others have and help you appreciate what you already possess. Building awareness and mindful spending habits. One of the most effective ways to curb impulse purchases is by developing mindful spending habits. Mindful spending involves being conscious of your purchasing decisions and understanding the long-term impact of each transaction on your financial goals. Instead of mindlessly swiping your card or clicking Buy Now, take a moment to consider whether the purchase aligns with your values and goals. Start by tracking your spending habits and identifying patterns of impulsive buying. Keep a spending journal, use budgeting apps, or review your bank statements regularly to spot areas where you're overspending. Once you've identified your triggers, you can create strategies to avoid those situations, such as avoiding browsing stores when you're feeling stressed or keeping your credit card out of reach when you're bored. Mindful spending also means setting clear financial goals and making purchases that align with those objectives. For example, if you're saving for a vacation or a major purchase, remind yourself that every unnecessary impulse buy takes you further away from that goal. Creating a financial plan to prevent impulse buying. Finally, having a financial plan in place can act as a safeguard against impulse purchases. When you have a clear budget and savings plan, you can easily assess whether a purchase is a smart financial decision. Setting limits for discretionary spending, such as a monthly fund for non-essential items, can help you control the urge to buy on a whim. Consider using cash instead of credit cards for non-essential purchases, as this makes you more conscious of your spending. Many people find that physically handing over cash makes them more aware of how much they're spending compared to simply swiping a card. Having a financial plan that includes goals for saving, investing, and reducing debt can also serve as a reminder that every dollar spent impulsively is a dollar that could have been used to build your financial future. Thanks for watching. Understanding the psychology behind impulse buying is the first step to taking control of your spending. By becoming more aware of the emotional triggers and external influences that drive your purchases, you can develop healthier spending habits and align your purchases with your long-term financial goals. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below with your own tips for curbing impulse buys. Stay smart with your spending. Invest smart.